Yo guys, I am bringing you a very useful molly lineup guide on the map Haven. The first plant spot is going to be a default, so we're gonna plant right here. And for the first lineup, we are going to go
right
to this
here.
corner, and then we will use the molly icon and we will put it above this wooden plank, the fourth wooden plank, like this. And then we shoot it
Molly.
to bounce off the wall and land on the spike. For the next one, we
Right
go
here.
to this corner and then we use the top of the molly icon. We see the edge of this mountain, and instead of just putting it into the corner of this, it would land a bit to the left. We move it a bit to the right like this, next to the edge of this mountain, and then we shoot it.
Molly.
Like this, it won't be landing onto the left so much, so it's gonna cover the plant spot pretty well. For the next one, we will come to A Long, and we're just gonna be between these
Right
two
here.
windows, somewhere right here next to the wall, and we will move until there is no gap between the walls, this one and this one, like this. And then we're just gonna aim at this light bulb like this, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and we'll land right here. We have another one from A Long. We line up ourselves with this
Right here.
pillar on the wall like this. Then we will use the top of the molly icon. We're gonna put it right between this mountain edge and this mountain edge, like right here when they meet up like this, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and it will land right here. For the next one, we will go into this
Right
corner
here.
and use the right side of the little line above the molly icon, and then we line it up with the third edge of this mountain like this, and then we shoot it.
Molly.
It'll bounce and land on the spike. If we somehow manage to get into window, we just have to aim on these boxes somewhere and then just shoot it.
Molly.
I normally aim in the middle, then it will land in the middle as well. There are some other options from A short as well, so if you go into this
Right
corner,
here.
now we will have to aim at this like pillar, this part of the pillar, like this, and then we shoot it
Molly.
to bounce off the wall and land on the spike. If you somehow manage to stay in this corner,
Right here.
you can just aim at the middle of this box.
Molly.
It will bounce onto the spike. The next one is from mid, from
Right
this
here.
corner. And then we'll use the left end of the little line above the molly icon and we'll line it up with this corner like this. And then we shoot it.
Molly.
The last one for this spot is more like a retake lineup. Is from this
Right
corner.
here.
And then you will use the molly icon and the top of it, and you line it up with the middle of this box, the bottom, like this. And then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it will land right here. So the next plant spot is going to be a cross, or that's how I call it at
Spike
least.
drop.
It's really good because you can watch it from heaven, from city, from short, and from long as well. The first lineup is from a heaven. So we stand
Right
next
here.
to this wall until we can look out on the window like this, and then we will aim at this brown part of this building, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and it will land right here. For the next lineup, we are going to go a link
Right here.
to this corner. We use the right end of the little line above the molly icon, and we line it up with the leaves like this. It's just, it doesn't have to be too accurate, it's just something like that. And then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it will land right here. For the next one, you're gonna go a short. You line up
Right
yourself
here.
with this wall somewhere until you can see this pillar, and then you're gonna aim in the middle of it. Then you shoot it.
Molly.
There are a few lineups for the same spot from A Long as well. So we go
Right
into
here.
this corner first, and then we will use the bottom of the molly icon, and we're just gonna put it onto the edge of the roof like this, and then shoot
Molly.
it. It's gonna land on the spike like this. For the next one, we go
Right
into this
here.
corner, and we are going to put the molly on top of the roof once again, like this, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land like this, covering the spike. Next one is from Cubby,
Right here.
from this corner, and we will use the right end of the little line above the molly icon. We will line it up with the right bottom part of this mountain, where the mountain and the roof meets up like this, and then we shoot
Molly.
it, and it's gonna land right here. There's another one from mid window, and I believe you cannot hear the spike from here, but you can play with it, and then you gotta use the line above the molly icon and the left end of it. You gotta put it into this corner when these two wooden things are meeting up like this, and then you shoot it, and it will land perfectly on the spike. The next lineup is gonna be from this corner. Then we will have to aim under the window in the middle, and then we shoot it, and it's gonna bounce off the wall and it's gonna land on the spike. Okay, let's see. What if we plant for CT
Spike drop.
like this? The first lineup for this plant spot is going to be from this corner, and then we will have to aim at the middle of this line, and then we will jump and shoot the molly at the top of our jump like this. Gonna bounce off the wall and it's gonna land on the spike. If you somehow manage to play a window, you can go to this corner until you can see this little decoration on the wall, and then you will have to aim above it, and then you shoot it, and it's gonna bounce off the wall and land on the spike. The next one is gonna be from CT. We're gonna go to this corner, and then we will use the steam beacon icon. Actually, we're gonna line it up with this little circular thing on the wall, bit below, like this, and then we shoot it, and it's gonna land right here. The last lineup for this plant spot is going to be from this corner on Cubby, and we will come out like this until we see this little metal thing on the wall. We will aim above it, and then we shoot it. It's gonna bounce off the wall and land on the spike, covering it perfectly. Last plant spot on A is going to be in this corner. The first lineup for this plant spot is going to be from this corner in Cubby, and we'll use the little line above the molly icon and the right end of it, and we'll line it up with the bottom part of the roof support like this, and then we shoot it. It's gonna bounce off the wall and land on the boxes. The next one is gonna be from A Long. We're gonna line up ourselves with this pillar like this, and then we will use the steam beacon icon and we will line it up with the third roof support in the middle. It doesn't have to be too exact, something like this, and then you shoot it. It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. For the next one, we're gonna go into this corner, and then we will use the molly icon, and we are going to put it onto the roof, but this time we are moving it a little bit to the left. It doesn't have to be so exact, so it's hard to mess it up, and then you shoot it. It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. There is another one from this corner. We will use the little crosshair above the molly icon, and we will line it up with this light bulb like this. So basically we aim at it and then we shoot it. It's gonna bounce and land next to the spike. If we are on short and we don't have time to go for a lineup, what we can do is line up ourselves with this wall, and then when we jiggle peek, we just have to aim at the height of this box, and then we're gonna hit it 100%. So like this. This is for an emergency situation. If you are somehow stuck in a short, you can just go to this corner and then aim at the middle of this wooden plank, and then you shoot it, and it's gonna bounce onto the spike. For the last lineup for this plant spot, you're gonna go to this corner, and then we will use the left end of the hard line, and we will line it up with the right corner of this roof support like this, and then we shoot it, and it's gonna bounce and land the spike like this. Now let's move on to the B side. The first plant spot obviously gonna be default on B.
Spike drop.
Right here. The very first lineup to cover this plant spot is gonna be from this corner, and we will use the left end of the line above the molly icon. We will line it up with the ending of the roof like this, and then we shoot it. Gonna bounce and land on the spike. For the same spot, we have a lineup from T-spawn, and we're gonna go line up ourselves with the middle of this fence like this, and then we'll have to aim between this golden bell, I think, and between this mountain in the middle like this, and then you shoot it, and it's gonna land actually very quickly on the spike. The next one is from CT. We come to this wall, and then we will line up ourselves with the middle of this door. Then we use the left end of the little line above the molly icon, and we will line it up with the corner of this building like this, and then we shoot it, and we land right here. There's another one from A side. We line up ourselves with this
Plant the spike.
line on the box like this, and then we will use the little crosshair above the molly icon, and we will have to aim at this little wooden brick like this, and then we will jump and shoot the molly at the top of the jump.
Molly.
And it will land right here. If you are stuck at B backside, you can just aim between these two yellow things like this, and then you can shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna bounce off the wall and land on the spike. If you're outside next to the window, you can come to this
Right here.
pillar, and then you can move until you can see the edge of this wooden entrance, and the height of this line you can aim, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna bounce perfectly onto the spike. If you find yourself in window, you can also just jiggle peek, and you have to aim at the top of
Right
this
here.
metal like generator thing, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land the spike. Okay, this time we're gonna plant in the middle,
Spike drop.
in front of this generator. The first lineup that is gonna hit the middle of the generator on B side is gonna be actually from C side. We're gonna stand on this platform, and we will find the middle of this little rectangle like this. Then we use the right end of the little line above the molly icon, and we will line it up with the edge of this roof. It's basically where it ends, like this, and then we shoot it.
Molly.
It bounces on the roof, it drops down, and it lands on the spike. There's another lineup from T-spawn. We're gonna line up ourselves with the
Right
middle
here.
of this fence like this. Then we will aim at the top of this golden bell or whatever is this, like this, and then we shoot,
Molly.
and it's gonna land on the spike like this. For the next one, we're gonna go to A
Right
garden
here.
into this corner, and we will line up the little line above the molly icon, and the left end of it, gonna line it up with the edge of the roof, but not like this. It's gonna be in the middle somewhere like this, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it will land right here. If you find yourself on mid, you can stand next to
Right
this
here.
pillar and move a little bit until you see the edge of the entrance. Then you will have to aim a bit lower than this with a blank on the wall, something like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce onto the spike. There's a lineup from window. We're gonna stand
Right
next to
here.
this wall, and then we will have to aim at this little part of the wall in the middle or in the top. It doesn't really matter. And then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. The last and very easy lineup for this plant spot is gonna be once again from mid window, but this time we're gonna jiggle peek, and we will have to aim at the top of the generator. Then we jiggle peek like this,
Molly.
and then we shoot it. It's gonna land on the spike, perfectly covering it. Let's move on to C side default right
Spike
here.
drop.
And the first lineup that is gonna cover that spot is gonna be from C Long from
Right
this
here.
corner. Then we will have to aim next to the edge of the mountain. This is the last edge of the right mountain, and we're just gonna aim next to it like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
Gonna bounce off the wall and land on the spike. The next lineup is from mid. We're gonna
Right
line up
here.
ourselves with this pillar, and then we will use the top of the molly icon, and we have to line it up with the edge of this roof right here like this, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land on the spike, covering it perfectly. The next one is from C Cubby. We're gonna go
Right
into
here.
this corner, and then we will have to aim at the corner of this building up right here, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. For the next one, we're gonna line up ourselves with the middle of this window
Right here.
like this, and then we will use the little mouse indicator above the molly icon, and we will line it up with the top of this roof ledge, something like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. The last one is from C Link. We're gonna come to
Right
this
here.
corner, and then we will have to aim next to this wooden plank like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
Gonna bounce and land on the spike. The next plant spot is gonna be when we plant for long.
Spike drop.
Right here, there is a lineup from B side actually, from this
Right
corner,
here.
and we will use the top of the molly icon, and we have to line it up with the corner of this little decoration like this, and then we shoot it.
Molly.
Gonna go through the window, bounce off the roof, land on the spike. There is one really easy lineup from C Long. We go
Right
into
here.
this corner and use the left hand of the hard line, and we have to line it up with this dot on the statue like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce, land on the spike. If you somehow once again find yourself on mid, you can line up yourself with the
Right here.
pillar like this, and then use the top of the molly icon and line it up where the first leaf and the roof are meeting up like this, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land perfectly covering the spike. There's another lineup for the same spot from
Right
Cubby
here.
on C Long. This time we will have to aim at this little decoration thingy at the lower part of it like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
Gonna bounce and land on the spike very quickly. For the next one, you're gonna line up yourself in the middle of this
Right here.
wooden window once again, and then use the little triangle above the molly icon, and the top of it you're gonna line it up with the corner of this wooden plank like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
Should bounce on the roof and then on top of the box, and then drop onto the land spots pretty well. The last lineup is gonna be from B Garage. You're gonna come to this
Right
wall,
here.
you peek until you see this building, and you aim at the middle of this wall, or you can crouch and then aim at the middle of it. Maybe it's a little bit even better, and then you shoot it. It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. The next plant spot is gonna be C Cross, or that's how I call it at least.
Spike
Right
drop.
here. This plant spot is really good because you can watch it from city, from garage, and from long as well. The first lineup for this plant spot is gonna be from city. We will walk up like this and use the little ladder under your molly icon. It can be whatever ladder you are using, whatever it's binded for, and you will put it above the second
here.
rock like this. You put it above the second rock basically, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce and land, covering it perfectly. For the next one, you're gonna go to C Long into
Right
this
here.
corner, use the left hand of the hard line and line it up with this little black dot on the statue, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land on the spike, covering it perfectly. For the next one, you're gonna come to Cubby,
Right here.
line up yourself with this wall, and you will have to jiggle pick until you see the spike, and you will have to aim right here,
Right here.
and it's gonna land instant.
Molly.
The last lineup for this plant spot is gonna be from C Garage. We're gonna stand
Right
next
here.
to this wall, and we will jiggle pick until we see the platform, and we're just gonna aim under the corner of it like this, and then we shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna be landing on the spike instantly. The last plant spot on C side that we're gonna cover is gonna be
Spike drop.
next to this tall box. The first lineup for this spot is gonna be from C Long. We're gonna stand
here.
on this edge like this. We will have to aim under this black leaf like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna land right here. And once again, if you somehow manage to find yourself on mid, you line up
Right
yourself
here.
with this pillar, use the left hand of the hard line and line it up with the curved part of this tree like this, and then you shoot it,
Molly.
and it's gonna land right here. The last lineup for this plant spot is gonna be from C Cubby. We're gonna
Right
come
here.
to this wall until we see this building. We're gonna aim at the corner of this white part like this, and then you shoot it.
Molly.
It's gonna bounce and land on the spike. And if after you are still looking for lineups, you should check out my other guides as well.